Hey, I just thought I'd come to you with some thoughts that I've recently had after a trip we took to Montana. We went out to Big Sky and it was just good for the soul. I'm just going to tell you, if you ever get a chance, you should definitely go out there and go to Yellowstone and all that. It's just stunningly beautiful out there. Found myself so often just being like, God, truly, yay, God. I mean, like, it's so beautiful. It's hard to miss him out there. But while we were there, we went whitewater rafting, and we've gone before, but this was the highest level rapids that we've ever been on, and it was fun and exhilarating, exciting, just what we needed. But I felt like the Lord really spoke to me through that experience, and I will confess on the front end that my thoughts are not anything new under the sun. It just resonated with me, and so I thought maybe it would resonate with some of you, or maybe even just one of you. And so I thought I would share. I've just had it on my heart and mind so much, I feel like I'm probably supposed to. So here we go. So a few observations. We had this really amazing guide. His name was Kyle. And he was just fantastic. And y'all, I mean, some of the rapids should have been scary. Like, they were really intense, really loud, really a lot going on, and before you even get in the boat, they start telling you what to do if you fall out, what happens if you end up under the boat. And I was like, no, thank you, don't want to be under the boat. And I got a little scared, to be honest with you. But once we started going, Kyle was so calm, and I just trusted him. I knew that I did not know what I was doing. Like, if I was out there by myself or without a guide, I would have been petrified and should have been. But with him, I wasn't afraid. I just trusted him. I trusted that he knew what he was doing and that he was going to take care of us. So that was kind of lesson number one is, am I trusting my Father? Isn't God like our whitewater raft guide? He knows what he's doing, and I don't. So much of life, especially right now, but even when we're not in a pandemic, is uncertain and crazy, and there's more questions than answers most of the time. But I found myself thinking, if I really believe that God is who he says he is, then can't I trust him like I trusted Kyle on that raft? And here's what I realized is that if I can find it in myself to trust God like I trusted our guide Kyle, how much more fun the adventure is. Like, you still get to have the adventure, but you're not afraid. And I find it so interesting that the most prevalent command in the Bible, far greater than any other, is don't be afraid. And I've often found myself wondering, how do I do that? Because there's a lot that's scary to me. And I think that it's trusting the guide, that he knows what he's doing, and you just listen to him. So here's the other thing that came to my mind, because I thought, well, that's part of the problem, right? Like, sometimes we just feel like we can't hear God, and so we don't even know what he's saying or what we're supposed to be doing, and so that feels scary. But here's what happened on the raft. One, as my family will eagerly tell you, my hearing is not perfect, and sometimes I struggle with that. And especially on a whitewater raft, when you're in rapids, it's loud, and we were on the front of the raft. And so sometimes I struggled to hear him, and he had a real quiet, calm voice. And so I found myself straining to hear him because I didn't want to mess up, because he was like, you guys are the pace setter, so when I tell you to row, everybody's following you. And so that felt like a lot of responsibility. And so I found myself straining my ear to hear him, to hear his quiet voice above the noise and the chaos and the excitement and all of that. And man, if that doesn't resonate, right? There's so much noise in our life. And y'all, as a physician, I feel a tremendous amount of responsibility right now to the point that it can overwhelm my mind, overwhelm my heart, because I feel like people are looking to me for answers and I don't know that I have them. And so it's scary to me, and I feel like there's so much noise, there's so many voices, so many people saying so many things. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, God, how do I hear you? And I think it's exactly like with Kyle on the raft. I've got to strain my ear to him and let all that other stuff fade into the background and strain my ear to hear my Father's voice. Train myself to recognize his voice. And that was another thing, like I could pick out Kyle's voice from all the other voices. And so I knew I wanted to follow his direction so I could pick his voice out. And I think the only way that we can do that is to meet with him, to learn his voice by talking with him daily and listening to his word. So there was that. And then something else I learned, and that I thought is so applicable to our Christian walk, is that when Kyle said row 3 times, I didn't turn around and go, did I hear you right? Are you sure? It doesn't seem to me like that's a good idea. Look at that rock. Are you looking over there? Do you see that? I think we should do this. I promise you, none of that happened. If Kyle said row forward 3 times, I rowed forward 3 times and I did it immediately. What would happen, I wonder, if I trained myself to hear my Father's voice and when I heard him, I just acted? How much more joy would I have? How much more peace would I have? How much more fun would this adventure of life be for me and for all of us if we could do that? If we could hear our Father's voice and just do it, like not even question it, just do it. Man, that challenges me because I delay because I'm uncertain. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't trust him. I'm not sure. It seems irrational to me because like sometimes when Kyle would say row forward 3 times, I thought we should probably back up or do something different. But he knew what the river was going to do and what the boat would do with what we did, right? I have to tell you, there were a couple of times, or more than once, that I thought he doesn't even need us. Like, we're rowing, but it is not making much difference. Like, what he does is the most important, right? But isn't that true of God? Like, he lets us participate in this grand adventure, even though he can do it without us, right? I mean, we know that, right? But he allows us to participate, and how much more joyful and fun and good is that? And here's what I realized, I feel like it was more fun for Kyle when we got to do stuff and we were laughing and talking and feeling a part of things. So that really challenged me. And then the last thing that I really thought about was this. There were some times that I wasn't sure what Kyle said. Like I wasn't sure if he said row 3 times or row 5 times. But I will tell you this, that uncertainty didn't cause me to not do anything. I just went ahead and rowed some, right? I at least did some. I at least did 3, right? And I just kind of watched around me. But I think so often in my walk, if I'm not sure if I heard God clearly, I'm paralyzed. I'm just so afraid of making a mistake and doing something wrong. But if I trust that God is the pilot and he knows where we're going, he can course correct. Like if I row 5 times and he really meant for me to row 3, my life isn't going to be a disaster. He'll course correct me. I think he cares more about the state of my heart and that I'm seeking to follow him and that I'm listening to him and that I'm moving forward instead of being paralyzed with doubt and fear. I don't know if this helped you at all. I know you've probably heard different analogies about this 1,000 times, and so forgive me if I wasted 10 minutes of your life. But that whole experience had such an impact on me that I hope never to lose it, and it just keeps going through my mind. And so I hope that it just gives you food for thought about Who's piloting this boat? And are we trusting Him? Are we listening? Are we training our ear to hear Him, to recognize Him? Are we acting right away without hesitation? Gosh, that's what I want to be. That's how I want to be. Um, and then if we're not sure, do we still just take a step and trust that He'll course correct us if need be? Know that I care about you. I may not know your name, but I pray for you. I'm grateful for you. And I pray for you. I pray that the God of peace will bring you comfort in these uncertain times, bring you joy and peace and hope, and that you will fix your eyes and your ears on Him above all the other voices, above all the noise, that you could fix your gaze on Him, hear Him, and let Him guide you. Blessings to you, and thank you.